All right, welcome. Tonight we have our first ever Juice Plus University. I'm really excited to introduce you to my friends, but first let me introduce myself. I'm Reagan Dean. I'm a National Marketing Director here in the Denver area, and I'm here with Jeff and Tony Olson, who are also National Marketing Directors also in the Denver area. And we're really excited because we want to take you over the next few weeks. We'll be meeting every other week through some training that we think is going to be really invaluable for you and to really help you in getting your business either off the ground or getting unstuck or just really going rock star if you want to. And Jeff, would you maybe share a little bit of the vision of Juice Plus University with us?
You bet. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so after Lauren Slocum came to Denver, Colorado, we were all having a glass of wine and got inspired about trying to add our 2 cents to the bucket of resources that are available for us in our community. We are a resource-rich company. Not everyone is resourceful. We have probably decades full of audio trainings, and we thought it'd be fun to bring our faces and our personalities to the conversation, help people see that are checking us out that we are just like they are, and we have maybe the same stories that they do. And so this is our attempt to, in this four-part series, to give you really the fundamentals as we lead into our national conference. The vision is really to deliver some quality training, some simple training that you can share with you and your team. The vision is imagine if we were the best trained organization. Imagine if you were the best trained representative. Imagine if we had the best training resources that you could use with you and your team. Chances are, if you're the best trained team, you're going to get the best results. So that's really kind of the underlying idea, is to deliver you great training. We're going to bring in some guests, some leaders that are new to the business, that have been in business a long time, and we're going to continue to add through this into 2016 as well. So we're going to start with this 4-part series, which is really around your story, around our story. Every great company, every great family, every great life has great stories around it. And so part of building your business is developing your story. We're going to share our stories in bits and pieces tonight, and that's going to be the first section. The next section is going to be around strategy, around how-to, around the skills of our business, which Eric Worre talks about. Eric Worre says, if you want to increase your activity, increase your confidence. And the way you do that is around developing knowledge around the what, the how, and the why. Tony Robbins calls it the story, the strategy, and the state. I call it the what, how, why. So, those 3 pillars we're going to walk through. And we're going to end our last session before conference. We're going to end with really who's in action, who's in motion, who's putting these ideas into play and having success. So the third section, I jumped over the third section. The third training is going to really be about state, about mindset, what Eric Worre calls about programming of the entrepreneurial brain, which involves repetition and affirmations and conditioning your mind out of the old and into the new. So tonight we're going to start with story, the power of story, and deconstruct story into about 5 pillars.
Awesome.
Take over, Reagan.
Yeah, and sorry you guys aren't getting to see Jeff. Something's wrong with his camera, so Jeff will just look at your cute face picture instead. And story is really important, and I think that when we can really identify with what drove us into wanting to even become part of the Juice Plus family, but then to take it to the next level and then take it up even to National Marketing Director and beyond. I think that us being able to share with you guys some of the fears and things that we had, maybe that can also help you to make a better decision or see that you can also do it. And so we're just going to have a little bit of a conversation here. And Tony, I'm going to just start with you, beautiful Tony Olson, obviously the better half of Jeff. I love you guys both. But what really attracted you to even looking at, the Juice Plus product and business?
Well, it took me a year to get on Juice Plus. I am a very skeptical person, and the first time I heard about Juice Plus, I was not interested at all. I thought we didn't need it, we didn't take vitamins. But about a year later, when I heard about it the second time, I was just in a different place, and I was more open to it. And so I always tell people, meet people where they're at, or distributors, you know, with their friends and family that they love, and they just want them to get the benefit. You got to be patient, and sometimes it takes multiple exposures, because there's nothing anyone could have said to me the first time. I'm certain there's nothing anyone could have said that would have changed my mind at that time.
Right.
But when I was ready and open, I really did my homework, and I was kicking myself, because I thought, wow, you know what, we do eat well, but we're far from perfect, and who can't benefit from more of this incredible produce in their body every day? So when I'd done my homework on Juice Plus and I became really rock solid on it, I thought, you know what, I want the people I care about to take this, so I might as well sign up as a rep, because I know I'm going to share it with them naturally, and I'm pretty economical, so why not get it for the best price? And that really was what had me look at the business. I had no intention of building a business. I was a busy mom with 2 kids under 3, and I didn't want to take on anything. And it was really over a course of, you know, maybe a year or so that I came to fall in love with the business, and then started to set some goals for myself.
Yeah, me too as well. It took me a year to even look at the product. I was kind of like you. I was really skeptical, Tony, and finally, I think it was because I got hurt and I wasn't healing well, that somebody introduced me, and I just signed up just to get a better price. I really had no vision. I had no vision for ever sharing it with anybody, but I knew if I liked it, I probably would. So how about you, Jeff?
You know, for me, I was introduced to it like we all are, from somebody who cares about us. It was my dad, and it made immediate sense to me. I, you know, took one look at it, and I was like, well, that's refreshing. That's unique. I knew instinctively it wasn't a vitamin pill. It was matter that matters, and I took it to, you know, I took it to my wife, and she kind of poo-pooed it, but she did her own homework, and we call that third-party validation. But what attracted me to the business was the unique and I guess distinguishing characteristics of the product. I didn't see anything like it from a business standpoint. Having been a professional athlete, you know, I understood that it was a foundational principle in food, diet, nutrition. From my time in the investment management business, the money business, I understood it was a value, it was a good deal, the compounding effect over time. And coming out of technology, you know, I understood that, you know, it was kind of right around the time Apple had launched their Think Different campaign. I saw it as a refreshing way to, you know, use technology at the service of simple and think different. And anyway, I just got it as a consumer. And then I began to, you know, watch my wife take on the business, and I'll share that in a little bit. I wasn't immediately attracted to the business, but I was immediately attracted to Juice Plus.
Yeah, and when I had heard that we've got some feedback, so one of you guys told me to mute a little bit. I was attracted to it just because, like I said, to get a discount, but I didn't really consider it before I went to a conference earlier. And then I felt obligated to share it with my friends and family. But I did want to marketing for you guys, but shoot, I hate that. Can you guys hear the feedback?
It's pretty
You're coming in and out a little bit.
So can you try to mute? And then we'll see. Does that help?
Say that.
If you mute a little bit, then I think that will help the feedback.
Oh, okay.
So just unmute when you're going to talk. That'll be good. Sorry, guys. Let me check. So anyways, yeah, so I didn't catch a vision until I went to conference, and then I felt obligated to share it with people. So let's talk about kind of what was the resistance, because I know even though I signed up as a rep, I was really resistant, and I'll share with you why I was in a minute, but I'd love to hear from you guys too, whoever wants to talk. Unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me? I'll go first. I had to think long and hard about this, because obviously I had tremendous resistance to the product, but then I got the product. And as far as the business went, I I didn't feel like I had a lot of resistance. I had never had any exposure to any home-based businesses before, so I didn't have any preconceived notions. So I went into it with a pretty open mind. But as I really thought about it, where my resistance developed was around stepping into leadership in this business. I felt like I didn't have any formal training as a Juice Plus leader, and so I just sort of worked my way up there. So I struggled with that for a long time. And my breakthrough came when I realized, you know what, I don't need special training. I just need to be one of the best workers in my organization. I need to lead by example and go out and do the business and lead by example, and then meet my team where they're at and match their energy and give them the support that they need. And so it was a real tough thing for me. Just kind of my preconceived notions of leadership were that you needed a lot of training and this and that. And so as my team started to grow, I became a little uneasy. And what gave me the most comfort was just thinking, you know what? Just be the best distributor in your organization. If you're setting that example, that's what's most important. And supporting, I felt a huge responsibility to support my team. I think when we bring on a new person, it's really important to lock arms with them and give them that support. And so, I just saw that as my responsibility and did that. And fortunately, I think a lot of my team have duplicated that.
Absolutely. Obviously they have, because you guys rose right to the top pretty quickly. How about you, Jeff?
Was intellectually ignorant. I didn't understand the principles of what business really was. I did get a BS in finance, heavy in BS, but I was a corporate chump, masquerading as a closet entrepreneur, and having come out of professional athletics and working Wall Street, and then it's a dot-coms technology. Had a bit of an ego, which is the alpha male thing, which is kind of an acronym. It's a great opportunity. But the one thing I did right was support my wife. She was doing this as a side business. I just thought as a provider, there was no way I could ever provide for my family with little itty bitty fruit and vegetable powders. But I did attend events. I was her date. I sat in the back and marinated for several years in my own mental gymnastics. I wouldn't encourage people to wait 3 or 4 years to get their questions answered. Get to a firm yes or get to a firm no quickly and get on with it either way. But I was her date. I attended events, and I was a multiple exposure compounding interest guy on the business. When my wife started paying the mortgage, I got it. I was curious. I said, could this be the Velveteen Rabbit, the real deal? Could this be my ticket out of corporate America and working for the man? And I began kind of understand what having your own business really meant. And it was not everything that I had cracked it up to be. It was very simple and very aerodynamic. So the resistance for me was on the business model. I came in with a lot of baggage, maybe some stereotypes, but really wrapped around illusions and stereotypes that once I got through and got my questions answered, this business is grounded in real principles. It's a real product in the real world, making a real difference one person at a time. And it's got some really competitive aspects. When I started to think about this as a business, I said, we've been given the exclusive distribution rights, to Crest, this hygienic consumable that people need, and we're kind of the only provider of it. I saw it as a competitive advantage. But I had my own learning to do, my unlearning to do, and this business has humbled me in many, many ways. The greatest challenge that I had, my greatest resistance, was to surrender really to the tried and proven system.
Yeah, and for me, I was super resistant because I had 7 other direct sales or network marketing experiences, and not that I tried to build all those businesses, but when you sign up for everything and then tell all your friends about them, the last thing you want to do is put your reputation back out there again. And so I was like, oh, no way am I going to be sharing this with anything. But one thing, and there were a couple of them that we worked, and we never made any money in them, and they were difficult. They were ones where we had to stock the product, we had to deliver the product. One of them we even had to cut checks for. And so that's the last thing I needed was another business, because my husband and I already owned several other businesses. We businesses. We had, or we still have, a real estate development company. We had a home building company. We were building up in the mountains. We had resort management. So the last thing I needed was something else to do. And then we also had 2 kids. And then, of course, with the 7 other network marketing experiences, and the other thing is with those other ones that they didn't really, they were great products. I think a lot of great products are sold through direct sales, obviously, better prices, better quality. But for me to be hooking myself to that wagon, it didn't inspire me. There was no passion for that because it didn't really make a difference, and I always say I love Mary Kay lipstick, but selling it really doesn't make me feel like I'm doing something important in my life. And so with Juice Plus, that became very different after I went to my first conference, because I got to hear from some of the very top physicians in the world and see the kinds of people and the professional people that were part of it. And I came home and thought, gosh, you know what? Like Tony said, I want my family and friends to take this. Of course I do. And I think that that's the beautiful thing about Juice Plus that's so different from other marketing experiences that you get yourself involved in, is that, really we're just loving on our friends and family that we want to be healthy, right? And then we end up teaming up with somebody else and we show them how to help their friends and family be healthy, and then they show their friends and family how to be healthy. We're not out doing this mass, let's go get 1,000 customers. We're just loving on people, and it's making a difference in their health. And every week I just got a thank you card from one of my team members, Jen. I get a thank you card every single week in the mail, and I know I'm making a difference. And so, that's why I do it. So let's talk about identity. I think identity is huge too. I think when people first get started, many of us come from places like all of us here on the call, right, Tony and Jeff, that, we already had an identity of, maybe it was, this financial guru or Olympic athlete, or owning a business, or maybe you're a CPA, or maybe you're happy to be a mom on a mission, or whatever it is, right? And sometimes just having that identity of, oh, I'm a Juice Plus distributor, can kind of mess some people's psyche up, and they go, oh, I don't want to be attached to that. And I just want to tell you, your identity is huge, and we're going to talk about that in depth in a couple of weeks here with Lauren Slocum. She's an expert at that. But really, you get to choose what your identity here is, because there's so many different paths that you can choose to share health and nutrition, whether it's working with athletes, or it's working with moms who want their families to be healthy, or maybe it's helping somebody become free of a job that they're not super passionate about and stay home with their kids, or whatever it is. But Juice Plus is just a vehicle. So for me, I kind of like to think of myself as a lifestyle leader, and help people to create a better lifestyle with their health and their wealth. I don't know if you guys want to chime in on that at all, Jeff and Tony.
I'll just say I fully embrace the mom on a mission. I resonate with that. I feel passionate that kids in this country are headed to a scary place with their health, and that there's no way that 10, 20, 30 years from now, if things continue on the path that we're on, that we're not going to have a severe health crisis, even worse than what we have today. So I am proud to be associated with that identity. I embrace it fully. And for me also, I'd say entrepreneur. I love how you put it, lifestyle leader, because I've never really saw myself that way before. I went and got a 4-year degree and worked a corporate job and was very much an in-the-box person. And it's taken me a while to embrace the entrepreneur identity, but I have, and I love it. I love the benefits of having your own, being able to be the master of your destiny and design your life.
Absolutely.
For me, my identity has changed. When I first started out, when I was this, supportive husband, someone asked me what I did for a living, and I would tell them, oh, I'm in the technology industry and yada, yada, yada. And I think that's, you go through a transition where your check starts getting big enough where you can start to say, oh, I'm a this or that. And I think in the end, we are all owners. Jay Martin, I listen to him pretty intently, and he says, he owns a health food company. We can say we own a health food business, but I think the key word there is ownership. For me, for men, for providers, that transition between when you're making, your income here and then you're making here. I went through a transition where I just said, hey, my wife and I, we own our own health food business, and then I would just shut up. And that was my identity for a while. And, learning from people like you, Reagan, and others, understanding what true being an entrepreneur is, what leadership is, lifestyle leadership. We don't manage employees. We try to lead 1099 independent contractors, which sometimes is a little bit like herding cats, and helping people try to find, the right side of their own bell curve and live into their own possibility and their own potential. And so, I'm very comfortable with, the identity of an entrepreneur. I have come to appreciate the dad on a mission thanks to my wife, and understand, how important that is. It's monkey see, monkey do. Health's about one of the most important lifestyle pieces we can give the next generation. And so between being an entrepreneur, being a dad on a mission, that having that identity of being an owner of your life is an identity that I think will stand the test of time.
Absolutely. So maybe you're a wellness warrior or a nutrition Nazi. I know we've got some people on our team that are nutrition Nazis, like they want to go in and change the world for, better nutrition. Or maybe you're a diet diva, or there's all kinds of things. You kind of get to choose. And
a wise mentor of mine once said that he identified himself as a winsome warrior, and I've always sort of liked that winsome warrior sort of identity. And he said, we all crave a noble battle, we all want adventure, we all want to rescue beauty, and a winsome warrior is kind of something that I write in my journals. So
I like that. And here's the thing, Juice Plus is just a vehicle. It's just a vehicle to get you, what you want to get out of your life, and it's a fun way to do it. So don't let identity, I guess is what we're saying, is don't let identity stop you from going out and making a difference, which, the next thing is I kind of wanted to ask you guys, we lost Jeff, hopefully he'll come back. So Tony, you and me, it takes effort to get to the top. Obviously, I've heard it said before, what we do is not hard, but it takes hard work. And I think that that's fair. And I'd love to hear kind of what you think about effort.
Yeah, I think another way I've heard it, Reagan, is that, our business is very simple, but it's not always easy. It does require, and that's probably the biggest thing I look for in a new distributor, is a work ethic, because it's not get rich fast or easy. You do have to put in the effort, and I think it doesn't have to be a lot of effort. I very much have always been clear at the last 15 years of doing this business of my priorities, and my family has always come first. That's not to say I've never made sacrifices for my business, because I have, but I've had my priorities straight. But I did my business often in stolen moments where I could fit in 15 minutes, a half an hour if the kids were napping or whatever it is, and I would much rather have someone who commits to doing 4 half-hour blocks a week than 3 hours on Saturday. I think it's really hard to do your business that way. You lose momentum. It's hard to get it going again. But the reality is if you want to be successful in this business, if you want to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve, you are going to have to put in the effort, the work. There's just no question about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's fun. The good news is it's fun. Like, I don't always feel like, yeah, it's a time commitment. I have to follow up and call people, but I know when I'm making those calls that I'm doing it because I know that their health is, they're going to be, I actually get myself into the mind frame of, you know what, I'm being a blessing when I call them, that I can help them with their health. I can, help them achieve greater wellness, vitality in their life. So you do have to have, be aware of your mindset when you're working this.
Yeah, one of the things I like is there's a saying that said, what would be different if you lived like your life depended on it? Would you work differently? And maybe you could add more life to your years, but maybe you could also add more life to other people's years. And that's kind of what drives me, is the doing things more for other people than myself, right?
Yep. Yep. Oh, it looks like we have Jeff.
Yeah, I lost you guys there for a second. You know, I think in terms of ethics and effort, having an ethic around effort, I think, you know, Albert Einstein said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world as it relates to money. But in this business, as Tony said, doing a little bit every day, carving out stolen moments. You know, the busiest people tend to do the best in our business because they know how to get things done. We get paid to do, you know, about a half a dozen things really, really well. And in the beginning, you have to be willing to be underpaid. That's sort of the trade-off. But, you know, as you and I, as all of us will attest now, we're very overpaid for the amount of time that we put into it. So believing that Juice Plus has your back, believing that the company has your back and the business model, and you're not going to understand a lot of this until you plug in. I think, you know, if you're struggling, if you're stuck, if you're wondering, you need to come to the events, come to the trainings, come to the boot camps, come to our regional here in Colorado next week, you know, or wherever you are, plug in. And I think that is half the battle, is getting people to show up, because, you know, this whole community will have an effect on you. And in the end, you know, that invisible force of internal drive activated is a great mystery. We obviously, you know, Reagan and, you know, we work with the workers. And if you take a step forward, we'll take a step forward. Sometimes we'll take 2 steps forward. But the numbers will, as Jay Martin said a very wise thing to me once. He said, Jeff, you got to understand something. We don't pay the wrong people. And a lot of people get really busy in our business and get really with busy work, but they don't focus on the high payoff activity work. And maybe this training over the next month will help people focus on really the high payoff activities so that their work is effective and efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. And schedule those appointments that you can actually talk to somebody about either helping them get on, you know, the products or joining your team. I mean, that's where we make the money. And so most of your time should be really around that. And then keeping it super simple. You know, it doesn't have to be hard to share Juice Plus. I mean, everybody needs to get more fruits and vegetables into their diet, and everybody has friends and family that do too. So don't be afraid to talk about your team. Also, we're running out of time, so I want to kind of get right into my favorite part, which is lifestyle.
Yeah, mine too.
From you guys, you know, why is this worth it? I mean, I think sometimes we need to start with the end in mind. That if you kind of go, gosh, why am I doing this? What is that result that you would like to have from putting the effort in here? And we've had great results. So share with us, you guys, kind of what you love about your lifestyle.
Well, we just dropped our daughter off at college in California a couple weeks ago, and it was bittersweet, I have to say, but it made me really think about how I am so grateful for this company. I'm so grateful to Jay Martin and to the Juice Plus company for providing me a vehicle to really always be at home with my kids, and for providing a vehicle for Jeff to leave the corporate world where he was working, you know, 75% of the time he was traveling when he was in the money industry, and missing out on his kids' lives and leaving me as a single parent. So what we've been able to create is to bring him home. This has been our only source of income for the last 10 years. We have been able to basically fit our work in around our family life, which is incredible. We've been able to take very lengthy trips, travel the world with our kids. We've even gone to Australia. The company sent us to Australia, which was incredible.
We're just in Canada this weekend.
And we just got back from Canada with our youngest daughter, where we did some Juice Plus business. But really, I can't imagine ever working for anyone else now. I know that when I'm putting hard work in, it's to build my dream and not somebody else's. To know that we could pass this business down to our kids. Something really cool is our 18-year-old daughter, who just went to college, became a distributor a couple months ago. She just fast-tracked to the VF position, so we're super excited about that. But I'm honestly filled with so much gratitude for this company and this business. And if you would have asked me 10, 15 years ago if I ever thought this was possible, I would have said no, absolutely not. I just never imagined that we could have this. So
awesome, Tony. Great, Jeff.
You're muted, Jeff.
Unmute myself. I'm sorry, I was muted. One of our first summer trips in this business was like a 6-week road trip. We toured the West Coast and we camped and we stayed with Juice Plus family, and it was 6 weeks off the grid. And it was right after Tony became a national marketing director. And I really see us as a lifestyle company, having a lifestyle around health, having a lifestyle about owning your financial sort of cash flow, owning a business out of the home where you start out at blue collar and then you go to white collar, and everyone wants to get to no collar. We have this no collar, small little business that provides for our family and sends a daughter off to college with 2 more on the way. And Tony hit the nail on the head. Gratitude, and I consider us first a lifestyle company. It's given us an amazing lifestyle. Count our blessings every day. We're focused on leadership in some small categories, and we're centered on commerce. And you put those 3 together: lifestyle, leadership, and commerce. And I can think I think we're home, and I think we're going to be here for the next 20 years. And our job now is to pay it forward.
Absolutely. And for me, we already had all those businesses going, and we still do. My husband does most of those. He's also a national marketing director as well, though. But, we just got back from 2 weeks in Fiji. We were able to go and take as much time as we wanted and be able to afford to go. But we attended a Tony Robbins seminar, and I think what I learned there, we did the Wealth Mastery program, and when we did all of our kind of money, financial stuff, 95% of his business falls into a risk category. So for me, I saw that coming, and I could see that the real estate world was going to not stay where it was. We're in a home building business, and so for me, adding that piece, that layer of annuity income, that protection piece, was huge, and that was my main driver. And it also afforded us to be able to send our kids to private school, college, especially after the economy went down. And for a while, after real estate went bad, Juice Plus was our only income, and we actually could live now in our beautiful home that we just bought. We could pay for everything we do with our Juice Plus income, so I'm really grateful for that. I think when you've got those choices, then you have more options to be able to go out and enjoy your life and dream a little bit. And I think sometimes we get also stuck in what we can do, that we don't dream any further, because what's the point? And so I love that now that door is open, that we can do what we want, when we want, where we want, who we want, how we want, and it's very freeing for us. And I'm also very, very grateful for what this has provided for our family. And my favorite part of this business are the people that I get to work with, not only my own amazing team who I love like family, but also my sideline buddies like you guys, Tony and Jeff. It's just so, to me, that's what kind of juices the world for me, is being able to spend time with the right people that have those same visions and are wanting to go out and make a difference in the world, and that's huge for me. So anyway, that's what I have for you for lifestyle. Jeff, do you want to kind of sum up kind of where we're at and where we're going with this?
Yeah, very good. And that was a great way to end. There's one thing, we pursue success in life, but the more, the thing that defines success is fulfillment. And the people in this business are one of the most, fulfilling things that is an intangible that you won't know about until you start hanging out with us and having beers with us. So we invite you all to come hang out with us. This is your homework for the week I will give you, is to work on your story. Find your story, find your voice, find your identity, determine how much effort you want to put into it, what kind of lifestyle you want to have. I mean, this is where you get it to have the Crayola crayons and really, color outside the lines. Think about where you have resistance and challenge those things, and then, figure out what's attracting you to the business and to the product, and begin to practice your story. It's not going to hurt if you take your iPhone out and videotape yourself 7, 8, 9, 10, a dozen times over the next week. So work on your story. That's your homework for this week. In addition to that, as a kind of a heads up for 2 weeks from now, we're going to dive into the how-to. The way we learn our business is by doing our business. And Eric Worre, in the book Go Pro, You're going to be hearing a lot about that, so if you don't have that book, you need to get the book Go Pro and start reading. That's your other homework, your next step action. So in that book, he talks about really about half a dozen skills. If you master those skills, you're going to be great in that business. And Tony Robbins talks about strategy. We're going to make the distinction between the two. That is sort of the name for 2 weeks from now. Strategy needs systems, and one of the systems that we have, this tried and proven system, is around the efficiency and effectiveness of the how-to. So get your GoPro book, begin to read your first few chapters, and begin to dive into those skills. So between your story and reading, next 2 weeks from now, we're going to launch into the strategy session. We're going to have 2 guests, I believe, Reagan. We're going to have, you want to tell the guests who are going to be joining us in a couple weeks?
Yeah, we've got Dr. Mitra Ray, who will definitely be talking about strategy, and she's a pro at strategy. We all know that. And then we've got Jill Herman, who I think you guys will love her because she rose in this business very quickly, and then kind of had life happen, and Juice Plus was able to sustain that, and then she kind of put her life back together, and Juice Plus was just there waiting for her to come right back in. And so I think you'll love hearing from her too, kind of what her strategy is, and some of the tips she had from getting maybe too busy or not keeping priorities straight along the journey. So I think sometimes we can get those tips to kind of make that journey a little bit easier. That's what it's all about, right? So.
Yep.
Very good.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will get the recording out to you guys via our team. We'll just get that out to everybody. It'll also be on YouTube. So we'll put that up on the channel, right, Jeff, on the Juice Plus University channel as well?
Yeah, we'll put that on. Yeah, I think we're... whether it's Facebook, we'll get the word out on where it's going to reside. We have Facebook. I haven't opened up yet, but maybe that's the best place to put it, do you think? All right. That's good.
Right. Thanks so much, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. Take care.
Have a great night.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.